Coach Dan here for your Tuesday, July 28th at-home WOD for the custom coaching track. Today's workout begins with durability. Okay, we've got 3 movements. You're going to go through each movement 1 time, and each movement's going to be done for a minute. First movement, Scap wall slides. So you're going to be in a wall sit position. Okay, butts on the wall, shoulder blades on the wall, and elbows on the wall, and then wrists on the wall. This by itself is pretty hard for me. I have to work for this. I'm keeping my belly really tight. I'm reaching up as far as I can while maintaining contact on the wall with my upper back and butt. And I'm going down. The thing to avoid is arching the low back as you reach up. That's the compensation, not what we're looking for. This is not doing a good thing. Okay, belly tight, locking it in, going up and down for a minute. Okay, once you're done with that, hollow rocks for a minute. So we're gonna be on our backs, legs straight, arms up, rock, and taking the ribs and the pelvis, closing them down with our abs tight. Now if we can't close that down, we feel ourselves getting pried open as we're rocking, we need to scale. Hands down is one way to do that. This might give you better leverage or enough leverage to maintain this metal position. And if you need more, bring one leg in. And every so often, switch legs. If that's not enough, both legs in. Okay? What we can't do is rock with our rib cage getting pulled back and open. That's not going to help us build our abs. Okay? Our final movement for durability is a pack overhead march for a minute. I'm going to use a plate, so I'll have the plate up overhead. Okay? I'm looking for a neutral spine, right? I pretty much have a good neutral spine right now, pretty much, and I'm marching. If your overhead position looks like this, and you're really cranking on that low back, bend your elbows. Reclaim a neutral spine and walk like this. But in no situation it is okay to forego a neutral spine and crank and go up overhead. That's not going to help build you up. So instead, bend the elbows as your compensation, as your scale. That's durability. After that, we're into the warm-up, which is a 4-minute EMOM. Your odd minutes, soup can wrist curls. In your even minutes, split, squat, hold, 20 seconds per side within the minute. Okay, soup can wrist curls. There's a lot of ways to do this. You can put your forearms on the kitchen counter so that your wrists hang off the edge, and you're going down and you're flexing. You're going down and you're flexing. You could go down into a squat position also, which is what I'll demonstrate. And I use my thighs as if they were the kitchen counter. I'm going down and flexing. Down to the fingertips, flexing, closing the hand around the soup can. Right? Doing this for a minute, warming up the wrists, warming up the forearms. So that's going to be your first and your 3rd minute. Your 2nd and your 4th minute is going to be the split squat hold. Challenging movement, going to get your legs warmed up. Split squat. Hold. Front shin is vertical, back thigh is vertical. I'm over my front heel. I'm not back in the middle. I'm using my front hip, hinging forward, holding for 20 seconds, alternating sides. If it's tough, get taller. You need to make that 20 seconds happen. So instead of going down and missing at 10 seconds, stand up, hold tension. That's the warm-up. That leads us into the WOD, which is 3 rounds per time of 40 alternating reverse lunges with a pack overhead. Then accumulate 1 minute in a push-up plank position, and then accumulate 1 minute in a quadruped plank position, and then 20 AbMat Sit-Ups. Okay, there's a lot of midline stability in this particular workout. Let's get into it. The lunge is with the pack overhead. You need pretty good mobility to show a good lunge with a pack overhead, okay, without cranking on your low back. And if you don't have that shoulder mobility, bend your elbows, just like we did for the overhead march during your durability. So, I don't have the best overhead mobility, so I'll show you a little bit of the compensation. Ideally, those elbows are locked, you have a neutral spine, and you've got your reverse lunges. Did I mention this workout's 3 rounds? It's 3 rounds. Right, so let's say this is really tough. This could be your position. There's nothing wrong with this. Static position overhead, and you're doing your reverse lunges. That's still RX, that's still good to go. That's 40 reverse lunges. If you find your knee drifting forward of the toe as a compensation because the shoulders are stiff, check yourself. You're not allowed to do that. Okay, that's going to smoke the knee, not going to use the hips at all, putting all the stress on the distal quad. It's it's not going to build you up most likely, right? So sometimes you'll see athletes do this so that they can get a nice vertical torso and they send the stress here. Don't do that. Bend the elbow, get the butt back, and stand, okay? So, you've done your 40 lunges. You're well onto your way of completing your first round. You need to accumulate a minute in the push-up position plank. So, it's just holding the push-up position with good scapular control, with good spinal position. I'm pressing into the floor, okay? I'm not shrugging, right? I'm not sunken down, pressing down. Looks like this. Okay, my back is good and flat. What I'm not doing with my spine is that, okay? That's not the position, right? I want to kind of organize my spine like an arch, yeah? Okay, like a stone arch going over a stream. Immediately followed by the quadruped plank position, accumulate a minute. If you can do a minute in a row on either of these, well, that's great. That'll help your time on the WOD. If you need to break it into two 30-second periods, that's fine. But the overall clock is still running. Okay, you gotta break it into 6 10-second periods. You might want to consider scaling this movement to something less challenging, which would be to go onto your kneecaps. Okay, so that's what we do right before the quadruped plank, which is this. My knees are just off the floor. I'm still showing the same spinal position, but I flex my knees. I accumulate a minute here, and then finally 20 AbMat sit-ups. If you don't have an AbMat at home, you can roll a towel under the small back. That's one round. You need to do 3 of those rounds. So just to be clear, that reverse lunge, front shin vertical, back thigh vertical, okay? These are non-negotiable, right? If that means you gotta bend your elbows, but don't change this position to straighten out your arms. Second thing, on the push-up position plank and the quadruped plank, I'm taking rib cage and pelvis and closing, hold it, okay? If you start doing this position and you're starting to arch your back, you need to rest or scale. You're out of position, you're no longer building yourself up, okay? And then finally the AbMat sit-ups, have fun with those. Good luck, team.